Good morning. Today I'm here to talk about the virtual academic learning plan for the Columbus City Schools. We have developed a plan that offers our students continuous learning experiences in a virtual environment. We've adopted some primary platforms, but we also know that the dependent on our plan's success is dependent on the great teachers that we have in our school district to augment that instruction and to offer those great interactive experiences using the relationships that they have with students in order to engage students in learning. So what you'll see is our primary platforms that we've adopted, K to 12 in all subject areas, including our early childhood programming. And so what we've tried to identify as we were looking at available online options are those that meet the criteria that has been established by the Ohio Department of Education. As a school district, we must adopt curriculum, whether it's virtual or traditional, that meets the state standards, that offers grade level instruction to all students, but then also can be tailored for students that are needing intervention to make up gap skills or may need advancement and enrichment because they are beyond that grade level standard. So what you'll see in our plan, and I'm going to share my screen to show you the copy of our plan, is that we have grade level platforms that are adopted in all subject areas in all grade levels. And while this plan and no plan or no material will meet the needs of all students, we need a qualified professional to do that. And we know that we have teachers that are able to augment this plan to offer great instruction for families and students to be able to engage at home with a level of success that they need to assure that they demonstrate mastery of the standards that are contained in the learning experiences. We know that at least we have some things that are available to students to have them continuously learn during this unusual time in history. So what you'll notice when we look at the academic plan, we began this with a projected soft start date of March 30th, knowing that we were going to have a firm launch in April, on April 6th. We've had students engaging in these platforms prior to our launch on April 6th. We've had teachers using them during the school year, depending on which platform you're looking at, and some, they are new to some students and to some teachers. You will also notice that on the left side is our primary platform that we've sent to staff, a listing of things that they should do to ensure that students are engaging in grade level instruction. We've also offered some supplemental resources in our supplemental platforms, as well as some of the resources created by district teachers. You'll notice that we start with our early childhood learners, and that in that experience, we've adopted Waterford, which has been used in their classrooms. It is meant to establish foundational skills. It is aligned to foundational standards for that particular grade area. It is meant to prepare students with the prerequisite skills for reading and English language arts. And so we are continuing to use Waterford as our primary platform, in addition to Big Day for Pre-K, which is our curriculum at that grade level. We are also offering opportunities where teachers are pushing out other avenues, things such as using Storyline online, PBS Kids, Scholastic Online. And so teachers have a variety of supplemental materials in packets as well as these primary platforms. And you'll see that's true of every grade level. If we look at the elementary grade levels, elementary, kindergarten through grade 5, we are using mostly iReady in English and math. However, we do have Connect Ed, which is part of our primary level curriculum, our elementary level at both the primary and intermediate levels. We also incorporate Alex, as you'll notice here, for grades 3 through 12. We are using other opportunities such as Achieve 3000 to supplement reading, our Studies Weekly, as well as Newsella in grades K to 12. But the primary platform has been chosen as iReady because it is aligned to state standards and it is on the list of ODE website resources for assessments. In addition to that, we've adopted curriculum materials in Study Island to help supplement science materials. We've also adopted various lessons created by teachers with groups of teachers for unified arts at the elementary level. And we would encourage families to look at art lessons that are visual arts, performing arts. We've partnered with Columbus Jazz Arts in order to offer some of this experience to students. We have smart music that's being incorporated by our instrumental and vocal music teachers. And we have other opportunities in Google Classroom, which is a platform the district is using to supplement these online resources. You'll notice when we get to the secondary level, the middle school level, some of these platforms continue, and then we've offered others to meet the demands of other subject areas. In English language arts, we're continuing with iReady as well as in math. We are also using many of the similar supplemental resources. We have some print resources available as well as the online experience. We introduced Khan Academy at the middle school level, which is also a self-paced, very standards aligned resource for teachers and students to engage with during this time frame. We have supplemental lessons in the iReady toolbox. Again, the selection of these materials was the alignment to standards, the fact that there is evidence-based research supporting these particular materials, which is one of the requirements that we have for district level curriculum. And so you'll notice we're also supplementing that in social studies and science. We are looking at Edmenum coursework to offer some of those opportunities. We are also looking at the Study Island platform. There are Achieve articles that are being used and pushed out to teachers. Khan Academy, other secondary resources have been adopted, and we have some print resources as well. We are doing the same with Unified Arts. If the Unified Arts classroom instruction is anchored to a high school course, you will likely see that attached to a course in Edmenum. Edmenum is our secondary platform for most of our coursework, almost all coursework at the high school, and some of the middle school coursework. Again, we have supplemental lessons that are offered by teachers. You will see teachers giving invitations to Google Classroom lessons. You will see them push out other types of instruction to supplement the work that's happening in these other platforms. You'll notice that we've looked at the high school level. The majority of our classes are anchored to that online platform that's offered by Edmenum. It's the similar and almost the same platform that you will see in our virtual credit acceleration program that's offered at the high school level. We have supplemented each of these as well with partnerships from the community, as you'll notice here in Unified Arts. Again, we're working with Columbus Jazz Group. We are also working with Smart Music to supplement that instruction. We are offering senior seminars as part of the high school experience to support our seniors at this time. There'll be social and emotional lessons that you will see that will be pushed out in addition to these online platforms. One of the things that we have adopted is, in order to supplement the instruction offered by teachers, in our multi-disabilities classroom, we have a new platform. Teachers will be pushing that out individually to students and families. It will offer lessons that are designed specifically to students in those classrooms. Our other programs will continue to use core resources for those students with individualized instructional plans. We will also have supplemental lessons as well in special education and ESL. We have very specific language acquisition instruction that has been developed by our ESL teachers. That is for students that are limited English proficiency, that need very basic language acquisition in addition to their core classroom instruction. And you'll also notice that we've incorporated at the high school level AP instruction and dual enrollment. AP instruction, we're using AP Classroom as opposed to Edmenum. There may be some supplementing with Edmenum, but you will likely see that teachers are offering lessons with AP Classroom, which is something we've used during the year. We have similar supplements on the right side as well. For career technical education, this was a different experience. We have multiple supplementals to lead that work. We have teachers creating planning grids as well, because career technical education is very diverse, and the Edmenum courses did not meet the demands in those courses. Not solely, but there are some Edmenum courses to allow students to gain access to the work keys assessment, to allow students to gain career or industry credentials as well. But you'll see that the majority of the CTE coursework may not come from Edmenum. It may be directly pushed out by teachers, in the sense that they will need to meet certain criteria, very competency-based education settings, as opposed to standards-based. And so what you'll also notice for dual enrollment, we are using the platforms by the colleges and institutions in which students are enrolled. We are not putting them on our primary platforms, although we are supplementing with our Edmentum platform to assist students as they indicate need. And you will notice then also we have incorporated our gifted students as well. They will use many of the primary platforms. But for these students, you should also see supplemental instruction. Our gifted team has developed lessons that teachers can push out. They have worked with teachers, collaborated to find additional resources to differentiate for students that need additional enrichment or advancement. You'll also notice that we are going to continue our virtual credit acceleration program, our VCAP program, as was designed. However, we've modified the assessment. Previously, students had to come to take the assessments in person. We've developed a plan for allowing that to occur in a virtual environment. We have a nursing platform in adult education. The nursing students have been very successful with this platform, and we've found that our GED, ESL adult education programs have been doing very well using the Edmentum platform supplemented by other resources. One thing that I'd like you to notice in this virtual academic plan is that this is the floor. These primary resources are to offer opportunities for continuous learning, but you should expect great instruction from our teachers. They are planning, they are developing lessons collaboratively, they are pushing out lessons to families, they are offering intervention for students that may indicate they're struggling in some way. They are also offering advancement to other students that may need that. You'll also notice that in some of these platforms, such as iReady, it will adapt to the student's performance. So if I have a student that has an error pattern, there's an algorithm that the computer uses to adjust the instruction. Not only can the teacher adjust the instruction, but the computer as well will adjust instruction to provide additional experiences with content that they may have struggled with based on their response pattern. Now, we know that sometimes this isn't always accurate, because if a student becomes tired, or if they read something incorrectly, or if they respond incorrectly, not understanding the intent of the item, they may have an error that isn't really indicative of what they know in that content area. But the computer itself, using this algorithm, will continuously readjust that instruction, so that if a student is being pushed back in the grade level, or even pushed back to a prior grade level's content, the algorithm will change again to push that student forward as students demonstrate mastery. That was one of our rationale for adopting the iReady platform for our K-8 students. It also offers our students the opportunity to not only engage in English language instruction related to comprehension and the processing of text, but it also offers foundational opportunities so that students develop letter sound connections. They understand phonemes based on what's happening in words, so that they're able to read larger words. It teaches those basic letter sound connections, and that was important for our primary students based on the data that we observed. We also want to encourage teachers to be as creative and as innovative as possible. We want them to augment this instruction. We have provided additional resources to them in order to do that. So for now, I am going to switch my share. So I'm going to stop sharing this plan. I am going to share the newsletter that was pushed out to all staff. In this newsletter, we've looked to give teachers opportunities to look at other resources. We have given them different tips based on using online instruction. We have developed additional resources for families, and please continue, if you are a family or even a teacher, please continue to look at our COVID-19 page under academic services. We add to that regularly. There are virtual field trips that students can experience with their families. There are virtual field trips that they can experience on their own. There are other types of learning games available there. However, learning games are great, but they're not the entirety of what we would want them to do with content experiences. So the primary platforms were developed because they cover grade level standards. They were identified for that reason. We want students to engage with those. We have given sample schedules, but we also want to remind parents that this is a time where normal is necessary. So as much normalcy as possible, we want them to give that to their children. We have suggested that they have other experiences to give children a sense of routine, to give them the opportunity to feel like children, because they will only be 5, they will only be 10, they will only be 15 one time. And regardless of what's happening in the world, we need them to have that opportunity. We also know that learning must continue in the fourth quarter. Our students have content to master, and this is why we've put this plan in place. We know that students need these learning experiences. It may not be as necessary today, but it will be necessary when they return to a school setting. It will be necessary when they go into post-secondary experiences, whether it's jobs, whether it's running their own business, or whether it's moving on to an institution of higher learning. We also wanted to share with you that, again, this is the floor. These are primary platforms to offer continuity of grade level instruction, but our teachers have other resources with links in our academic newsletter, which we send out bi-weekly, to help them understand ways that they can augment this instruction. We've developed professional development around that, and we know that we have many, many teachers in this district that are doing amazing things with children. We have been inspired by them, by their creativity, by their innovation, by their perseverance, and just their caring nature for the students they serve. They miss our students probably as much or greater than our students miss them. And so as much as we can to give these face-to-face experiences, and we know that FaceTime, when we FaceTime with families, it doesn't feel the same as being in the same room with them. However, as much as we can, we want to have the opportunity for students and teachers to interact during this time and this experience. We also have some other opportunities. Our library media specialists have done a fabulous job, and this is on our COVID-19 page. There is a link in our newsletter as well that shows basically a virtual online library so that families can check out books, students can read them on their own, they can read them with their siblings, they can read them with their family, and it's an opportunity to have an experience in literature with your family or even with others your friends. You can do this online as well. So this is an opportunity to bring books to students, and we would encourage families to check books out online using our webpage on the COVID-19 site. And as always, we ask staff to reach out if there's anything they are unclear about. If there's anything that they have questions about, we are certainly willing and able to answer those. We have a number of staff that are assigned to each area to be able to provide support to teachers. We want to encourage their creativity. We have been impressed by the things that teachers are doing, and we are excited about the great things that are about to occur during our fourth quarter. We know our staff are there for our kids. We know our families are strong, and while this time is challenging in history, we know we can get through this. And as our superintendent has said, as our governor has said, we can do this together. And I'm going to turn this over now to Dr. Chapman.
So at this time, I would like to provide some context for our shared academic expectations. So Dr. Ocasio talked to us about all of the resources that make up our virtual academic plan. And I would like to share with you some of the expectations that we have for our staff and our team members so that families will know what types of engagement they can expect from us during this different transition as we move to virtual learning, this virtual and learning environment. First, I would like to say that our team has embraced this new challenge with open arms. We have a dynamic group of principals, teachers, counselors, social workers. Our entire staff has really leaned in and helped us pull together resources and think very critically about how we can share these resources with families and keep everyone engaged during this extended school closure. And as we transition to a virtual environment, we want to remind our stakeholders that our admin team still has very high expectations for our staff. We expect that all our staff will continue to make every effort to stay connected to our students and families and continue to foster a sense of community. So, what does academic support look like during this extended school closure, and what can families expect? Our school leaders will work with their teachers and staff to ensure that we keep all of our students and families actively engaged and connected. You can expect that teachers will be reaching out personally to schedule phone calls, conference calls. I'm sure you've been invited to a Google Classroom or a video conference with your child's teacher. Schools will also work diligently to sustain a sense of community by communicating regularly with students and families. We've asked all of our staff to begin scheduling office hours at minimum 2 to 3 times per week for students and families. We want them to stay connected with their students by email. This week, we also were able to roll out student email accounts. So every student in our district, K through 12, has their own personal CCS email account. Our staff will be working to monitor student engagement on the virtual learning platforms to make sure that everyone has access and all of our students have the support that they need to thrive in this virtual learning environment. Of course, our teachers will be checking student progress and providing feedback as we go. Our teachers are committed to continuing with conducting IEP and 504 meetings and supporting our learners in this online learning environment. And remember, this is new to all of us, so we are learning together. We are all in this together. Our school leaders will continue to serve as instructional leaders by ensuring that they are supporting staff, students, and monitoring instruction in our new virtual environment daily. They will be closely monitoring student engagement on the various platforms as well as student progress. Our staff will be ready to mobilize the school's intervention support teams when the need arises. And to the cohort 2020, we want you to know that we see you, we hear you, we support you, and we are here for you. We know that this transition is going to be particularly difficult for our seniors. As such, we have identified a senior team at each of our high schools to double down on our efforts to keep our seniors engaged. The senior team includes administrators, teachers, school social workers, school counselors, graduation coaches, internship coordinators, and I Know I Can partners. These teams will be working nonstop to ensure that we have the necessary supports in place to ensure that our seniors finish strong this year. Our school counselors and social workers have partnered with I Know I Can to develop an intentional outreach plan to connect with every senior to check in with them on a regular basis. Our school counselors are also tracking the progress of our seniors and are scheduling students into needed VCAP courses and supporting students' social and emotional needs by providing individual supports. Our school counselors have also developed resources for students and families, and links to these resources can be found on our district website on the COVID-19 page. We are currently in the process of scheduling weekly senior seminars. These events will serve as a dedicated time for senior cohorts to come together as a learning community. Each seminar will focus on specific topics of interest to our seniors, which include graduation pathways, emotional regulation, supporting our students as learners in an online environment, and transitioning from high school to college. We know that with targeted support and wraparound supports, we will be able to provide our seniors with all of the support that they need to transition and finish their last year of high school strong. And we intend to do everything we can to support them. And in closing, as the governor has said before, we are all in this together. So we certainly want you to know that we will be patient and supportive as needed to ensure that all of our students, K through 12, pre-K through 12, and families feel supported and engaged during this transition. And again, I want to thank all of our students, our staff, our families, our school leaders for their support and understanding. We look forward to connecting with you very soon. Thank you.